We
live with it, and we're gonna.
We in action, everybody.
Yeah, we getting it now. It's on. Let's get it.
Hello, everybody. I am actually. I don't. It's not. This is all you. This all you. This all you.
Okay. Well, here we are. Welcome to Real TV with the Bells. You know, we wanted to discuss a nice little topic. You know, something that a lot of us as men, we don't do a lot of sharing about. You know, we actually just kind of suppress it and everything. So today's topic is about mental illness, mental health, and why us as men sometimes have a difficult time expressing our emotions. You know, if it's rather past trauma or things that trigger it, you know, past experiences. So we're going to just tackle a little bit of that today. So my guest here today is my wonderful son, Ty, Lou, however you want to call him.
I feel like a lot of people gonna say Lou too.
So a lot of people gonna say Lou.
They be like Lou.
So we got Lou here today. As you see, we got a nice background. So we're gonna try to keep this, you know, kind of upbeat, but at the same time, we're gonna keep it kind of serious at the same time. But
Gotta keep it real out here.
You know, it's gonna get real. So we just want to, you know, take a couple minutes and just kind of chat it up. I went and just researched a couple of things. You know, try to figure out, you know, how we want to have this conversation go, and I had to do a little research, and I found some information. Let me say this as a disclaimer: we are not professionals. We are some men who have had experiences in our life, and we're just wanting to share that with other men who may have gone through similar situations. So I would say, if you really need help, please seek professional help. That is the biggest thing, you know. But we're going to give our viewpoints, you know, just like we all do, like at the barbershop or playing cards or
at the spades table and all that.
At the spades table.
You know, it's just us politicking and just connecting with each other on a different frequency. Because a lot of us men, we're constantly going against our own belief system and what the world is throwing at us, and now we're fighting with ourselves simultaneously, and we're not given a platform to actually speak on. So you know, it's like, this is, I support stuff like this, and you know, it's some men out there that may actually pay attention to what we're saying, and that may get them from jumping off that bridge. You know,
that's
what I
right.
mean? So,
man, that's the amazing thing. He just went into. This is all raw footage too. He don't know anything about what I'm about to ask him, but everything that he is saying is dead on. So I want to pose a question.
What I think, it's not 100% right nor 100% wrong. More so, from my perspective, what I notice is that men don't have a platform. They don't speak as often about their emotions, and whenever they do become expressive of their emotions, they get called out for, like, oh yeah, you're acting like this, you're acting like that, like, man up. Like, and a lot of us hear the terminology man up more often than not. So it's like, and then a lot of us men, we don't have a father figure that actually grew and actually built their emotional intelligence. So when they go through something, the first thing they do is say, okay, well, I'm gonna either go sleep with a lot of women, or I'm gonna go drink a lot of alcohol, or I'm gonna become a workaholic. But ultimately, they're not taking time to themselves, and it's a lot of chaos that we're dealing with on a daily.
Right.
You know, and it's not just for one culture of man, not the black man, not just the white man, the Hispanic man. All men deal with this type of depression, and ultimately, I think it's about us men collectively learning our emotions. Don't fight them, but learn the emotions that you're feeling, and then finding conducive ways to actually like share them with others, and be unapologetic, and don't be afraid of judgment.
I agree with you. A lot of us as men were raised, and it's a stigma for us as men to acknowledge when we have weakness, especially even when I was growing up. It was looked frowned upon. Oh man, quit crying like a little girl. You see what I'm saying? Or you acting like this. You're not acting like a man, in other words, or a young man or a young boy. You're not, when you cry or you try to express when something hurts you. And as a young man who don't know, or a young child, we don't know how to process, okay, this is a temporary situation, because when we're children, we see that moment as forever. You know what I'm saying? We don't see, okay, well, this is only going to be for a couple of minutes or a couple of days. So when you've been told repetitiously that crying shows a form of weakness, that really plays on you as you become an adult, because then as you get older, real life, real pressures start to hit you. Now you're starting to feel like, man, I'm frustrated, I'm upset, this is getting overwhelming. But I was told at a young age, if I cry, if I express my feelings, that I'm less than a man for doing it. So a lot of time, us as men, we will suppress that. We'll hold back from showing people those emotions, but we'll smile. We all smile.
Right.
But behind, we're in pain. And so that's I think that's part of the reason, to answer that question, is a lot of men, they don't find that outlet eventually. They give up on life.
Right.
Or they drink themselves away from here unalive, or they do stuff to themselves. But women, they have been taught, express yourself, it's okay. Tell them, go ahead, it's okay. It's okay for women to be more in touch with their feelings than for men to be able to express ours.
I actually got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Like, what moment can you remember that made you work on your emotional intelligence as an adult?
As crazy as it sounds, I would say probably within the last year, 2 years, or maybe a little longer than that, where I'm now realizing that I need to express when I'm struggling with something. Now as adults, you have bills. Now as adult, you have other obligations. You have other stuff. You're getting older, health-wise, and if you don't get that out of you, my blood pressure, stuff like that. That's why I say it's important to release those things that bother you, because it would affect your health later. So I've been dealing with, like blood pressure issues, weight, different types of things, that have played a part on me. So, within the last year or two, I've tried to be more expressive to Mom, which y'all know, Tasha. I try to be more expressive to her about when I'm going through something. It's new for her, because I've always kept stuff in. And she would ask me sometimes when things would get overwhelming. I wouldn't lash out at her, but I'll speak on something, and then I'll talk about it as it's in the past. And she's like, hold up, you're not even talking about the issue now. You're talking about something that happened months ago. Why am I just hearing about it? And she said, you cannot do that to yourself. And I say, well, because I try to keep stuff to myself, because I don't want to overwhelm you, because I know what you're going through. And she was like, no, that's not how we do in this marriage. You tell me when you're going through, just like I tell you. And that's what I'm working on now, is being more expressive about when I'm going through something. Not every moment, but when I feel that things are getting overwhelming. So that's mine. What about yours?
I just, before I tell you a moment in my life when I started, I do want to just acknowledge that how you're handling situations, like, because it doesn't matter what age you are. You could be 10 years old, 15 years old, 75, 80. When you understand emotional intelligence, it's not about age, it's about actually working towards
Yes.
wanting to understand who you are as a
Yes.
person without feeling ashamed about it, because
Mm-hmm.
it's like a lot of us, we tend to get nervous when we get into adversity, or
Yes.
when we see something that we know that's going to be overwhelming,
Mm-hmm.
where we just say, okay, I'm about to just shut down, or I'm gonna start lashing out at people.
Right.
Like, but if you're, once you become cognizant of, like, okay, this is what I want a better outcome instead of the same, because ultimately we're going to keep going through the same lessons until we actually get the lesson.
Yes.
And then it's like, I was reading this one book, and it's called The Subtle Arts of Not Giving a F.
Okay.
But it was by Mark, I can't remember his last name. But what I realized is that we tend to put so much pressure on us.
Yes, we do.
We put pressure on ourselves from everyday life for things that we can't even control. And that's what's killing us slowly.
It is.
Because
it is.
We're literally falling to our own self because we're letting things overwhelm us, put more pressure on us. So with you now just building upon it, because you've been working on it for years, you're just now seeing the fruits of your labor. Like that's, and it's like I'm still working on it right now, because it's like I'll catch myself in situations where my emotions want to just rise immediately, but then I stop. I'm like, look, I'm gonna just stop everything I'm doing, even if it's like 5 or 6 people talking to me at one time. I stop. I hear y'all talking, but I gotta focus on my response, because if I respond in a bad way, then I can end up hurting somebody.
That's right. And that's going to be what he is saying, is things that we're going to discuss later on how to manage those things. If you're not seeking help at the moment, we're going to give key points on things that you can do. So everything that we're sharing now is also going to be some solutions at the end that can actually help. And because he's going to share some things about things that have helped him along this journey. And this, like you said, it's a continuous journey of growing and learning and mastering certain things, and trying to deal with letting go of certain things. So
that's letting go. That's pretty much one of the things when I realized I had to learn emotional intelligence, or actually build upon the emotional intelligence I already have, is letting go. You know, a few years I got out of a relationship, and a few years ago I got out of a relationship, and you know, at the time I was in a dark place mentally, like to where I didn't know what to do. I felt like my whole world shut down, and that was around the same time I came back to the house, you know.
I remember.
And so I was trapped in a world previous before I even got to those 2 years of me being outside the house. So it was like I was dealing with a lot of trauma from my childhood that I didn't resolve. So you know, in 2021, once I started drinking and all that, and I was drinking heavy, I wasn't in control of my own self, because I was looking for an escape, you know. And so even though I can't pinpoint one exact situation, I can put a time frame from 2020 to 2023, 2024. That's when it took a year. It took me 2 years to get a better, clear mindset, because I'm not fighting it. More so, I'm accepting it, and that's how I could be able to coexist with how I feel. And you know, emotionally, I'm grounded.
There you go.
I would say that I'm very grounded in who I am now. And so when I look back at the old version of myself, I could just say, okay, you went through something, but you were stronger.
There you go.
You're always going to be stronger.
That's right.
But you're going to have to think about everything.
That's right.
You're going to have to open yourself up emotionally. So, and what's scary for a lot of us, we can't even be by ourselves.
Agreed.
And that's the key component to actually getting out of that dark place. You gotta be by yourself in the dark place to get out.
Yep. I think it's an old saying, the only way out is through. Sometimes it's like that. So, but yeah, man, I like that question. I mean, I like that answer, and thank you for the details on that, because hey, that's some real stuff. And I hope that, this resonate with some of you, because we all are going through that point. So we're gonna go to the next question.
Let's talk about it. I mean, we're hard-headed. Let's just be honest. Us men, we're just hard-headed.
We are.
We're really hard-headed. Like,
Yes.
I could care less about trying to get help, because it's like us from kids. We're taught that we need to figure it out on our own.
Yep. Yeah.
Immediately. Like, when you grow up, they say you need to figure it out on your own.
Yep.
If you get in trouble, you need to figure out how to get out of it. And when you become an adult and you start living on your own, them bills ain't gonna stop.
Sure ain't.
So us men, we have constructed the mindset around like, okay, we're just gonna do it on our own, even if that results in our emotions or our own demise.
Yep. That's right.
Unfortunately.
And like you say, for me, I think part of the reason to go a different direction too is because a lot of us are ashamed of seeking help. And a lot of times I feel like sometimes that it's difficult for us to find someone that we think can relate to us, because we have always been taught to, like we said in the beginning, deal with it. You deal with it. You're a man. Figure it out. So we feel like if we go and seek help, we're acknowledging that we can't handle the situation ourselves, which is kind of like a pride thing, because we've been taught at a young age that your pride comes over your health. Your pride, your ego, your everything, that no, I'm not going to do it because it's going to make me look a certain way. And sometimes that can be a part of our downfall. So that's why it's important that when you do it, understand that you're actually showing courage. When you seek help, whether it's from friends, family, whoever, your pastor, whoever it is that you trust with your emotions, make sure you find somebody who you can trust with your emotions. They're not going to judge you. They're not going to dismiss you. Is that what y'all call gaslighting now?
Yeah, gaslighting, crazy.
Yeah, they're not going to gaslight you.
Crazy.
They're going to be someone who's going to listen to you. They're going to support you, give you different support avenues, or just be a listening ear. Sometimes you just want to, because sometimes when we as men, it can be very difficult for us to share how we truly feel. So sometimes I know for me, I'll just say stuff and I'll be like, babe, I don't even know how to put into words what I'm saying. This is just how this feeling that I'm having has me feeling right now. So sometimes people just want you to listen. You don't have to add nothing, just listen. They just want to get it off of them, because when you speak it out, you're releasing it. And a lot of times we hold it in for so long that we don't even have the words to express it. If you done held something in for 7 months, a year, and then all of a sudden something happened, you can't explain that whole year time of how you got to this point.
Fact.
So in that moment, just listen, just hear me out. That's what y'all say, hear me out.
Hear me out.
Hear me out. They say 3 reasons, and then we can go into detail if you want to, but I was just going to give them to you.
Okay.
The stigma, which we talked about, that's part of the reason why men don't go and seek help, because of a stigma that men who go and seek help are looked at as weak, because we was taught at a young age that being expressive is a form of weakness, which is not true at all. Cultural norms, men are looked upon as always being strong. We're always looked upon as being able to handle everything that that comes upon us. Physically, we probably can to a degree, but our physical and our mental it's just like this. I can want to go and pick up 400 pounds with some curling bars. I may want to, but that physically I can't do it. So sometimes life gives you 400-pound problems. And you can't lift those by yourself. Sometimes you're going to need that extra hand to either take some of that weight off or lift it to help you to carry through to make it to your goals. You can chime in. Go ahead.
I want to add on to that.
Go ahead.
400 pounds of weight.
Ultimately,
that's what our emotions are. Emotions in our mind. Yes. It's like we got to get used to lifting weights of our emotion in our mind.
Come on now.
I'm not saying like get bulky with it.
No.
And like you don't have to bulk up like some people. Some people, you just, if you want to just be like whatever you desire, be what you desire.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, make sure you keep your body conditioned.
That's
Condition your body to handle that pressure. So soon,
that's right.
Let's say if you go through something crazy, like you lose your job, you can't pay rent.
Yep.
You falling behind.
Yep.
Your credit cards are maxed out. All this is happening simultaneously.
Look at them pounds.
But if you know how to stay calm through it and actually move, like say, okay, all this is happening. Cool.
Right.
It happened.
Right, right.
Now what's the next
right.
step to get out of it?
That's right.
And sometimes simultaneously when you're solving those problems, more problems come.
Yep. Oh gosh.
So
don't that sound like some of us here? Can I raise my hand to that? It seems like there's an old saying, when it rains, it pours.